My boss tried to ruin my life, so I ruined his. This is a story of how my narcissistic, power-hungry boss tried to ruin my career and personal life, so I decided to destroy his instead. I, 30M, used to work for a mid-sized company in the marketing department. I had been there for 5 years and was considered one of the top performers. I was loyal, hardworking, and actually liked my job until we got a new manager, Greg, 45M. Greg was the kind of boss who thought fear equals respect. He came in swinging, trying to assert his dominance over everyone, but for some reason, he took a special interest in making my life hell. 1. The boss from hell. At first, I tried to give Greg the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was just adjusting to a new company. But within a few weeks, it was clear that he was out to get me. He publicly took credit for my work during team meetings. He started micromanaging everything I did, rewriting my reports, questioning every decision, and making me redo projects multiple times. He deliberately excluded me from important meetings so I'd be out of the loop. He gave me impossible deadlines, then yelled at me for not meeting them. He even started talking down to me in front of coworkers, calling me slow and not as sharp as I thought I was. At first, I thought maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe he was hard on everyone. But nope, he was only like this with me. Then I found out why. 2. The reason he hated me? One day, I went out for drinks with some coworkers, and one of them, Sarah, 28F, dropped a bombshell. She told me that Greg hated me from day one because during his first week, our director had praised me in a meeting. Apparently, the director mentioned that I was one of the company's top assets and had been instrumental in some major campaigns. Greg, being the insecure little man that he was, saw me as a threat. Instead of working with me, he decided to break me down. But it got worse. 3. He tried to get me fired. About 3 months into his reign of terror, I got called into HR for a serious discussion. I walked in, completely confused, and was hit with a list of accusations. Greg had reported me for repeated insubordination, aka questioning his terrible decisions. Underperformance, despite me having stellar reviews before he showed up. Creating a hostile work environment, which was ironic because he was the problem. Thankfully, I had receipts. I pulled out emails proving I met every deadline. Messages where he praised my work, before later claiming it was trash. Testimonies from coworkers who had seen his behavior. HR agreed that something was off and said they'd investigate. But I knew that meant nothing. Greg was buddy-buddy with upper management, and I wasn't going to wait around for them to stab me in the back. So, I started plotting my revenge. 4. How I ruined him. Greg's biggest weakness? His ego. I spent the next few weeks gathering every piece of dirt I could find on him. And, oh boy, did I find some gold. The first strike, exposing his fraud. Greg had been padding sales numbers to make himself look good. He took credit for deals that weren't his, exaggerated revenue growth, and manipulated reports before sending them to corporate. I compiled all of it and anonymously sent it to the higher-ups. The second strike, his side hustle, that violated company policy. Greg had a side consulting business, one that directly competed with our company. This was strictly against policy. Even better? He had been using company resources, email, printers, even interns, for his side gig. I sent proof of this to HR and legal. The final strike, his extracurricular activities. Greg was having an affair with someone in the office. Not just any coworker, but a married woman who happened to be the wife of a VP. How did I know? Because Greg wasn't exactly discreet. He had sent, let's just say, interesting emails through his company account. I got my hands on a few, don't ask how, and I made sure they got into the right inbox. 5. The fallout, watching Greg crash and burn. Everything came crashing down within weeks. Corporate launched a full investigation after receiving anonymous tips. Greg's fraud was exposed, and suddenly, upper management wasn't protecting him anymore. Legal got involved because of his side business. His affair became office gossip, and the VP? Absolutely furious. And then, he was fired. Not just fired, publicly humiliated. HR made it loud and clear that he was let go due to multiple ethical violations. He didn't even get to pack his desk, security escorted him out like a criminal. 6. The cherry on top, I got promoted. After Greg was gone, the company did damage control. They needed to restore order, and guess what? I was offered his position. I politely declined, because I had already accepted a better job at a competitor. Oh, and I made sure to tell my new employer exactly why I left. Last I heard, Greg tried to get a new job, but word had spread. Nobody wanted to hire someone who got fired for fraud and policy violations. Now, he's jobless, disgraced, and probably regretting ever trying to screw me over. Final thoughts, AITA? Some people have told me I went too far, that I should have just let karma handle it. But Greg tried to ruin my career, my reputation, and my future. I just made sure he faced the consequences of his own actions. So, Reddit. Ida? Or did my boss just get exactly what he deserved? Update: my boss tried to ruin my life, so I ruined his. After Greg got fired, I thought that was the end of it. Nope. A few weeks later, I got a legal notice. Greg had the audacity to try and sue me for defamation. He claimed that I had spread false rumors and sabotaged his career. At first, I was actually worried. I mean, lawsuits aren't fun, and I didn't want to deal with legal drama. But after consulting a lawyer, I realized Greg had no case. Everything I exposed was true. I never publicly slandered him, his own actions did that. Corporate fired him for legitimate reasons. So, my lawyer basically laughed in his face and told him good luck proving anything in court. The lawsuit? Dismissed before it even started. But Greg wasn't done yet. 2. Greg's wife found out everything. Remember how Greg was having an affair with a married coworker? Yeah, his wife found out. I don't know if she saw the emails I leaked, or if someone tipped her off, but she went nuclear. She kicked him out of their house. She filed for divorce almost immediately. She's reportedly going after everything: money, assets, even full custody of their kids. Greg, being the absolute genius he is, begged some of our former coworkers to let him crash at their places. Nobody took him in. Not a single person. He ended up living in a motel. And the cherry on top? The woman he had an affair with didn't want him either. She stayed with her husband, the VP, and from what I hear, she cut off all contact with Greg. 3. The job market wasn't kind to him. After Greg got fired, he started applying for new jobs, and failing miserably. Why? Because word spreads fast. The marketing industry is small, and news about his fraud and policy violations had already made the rounds. Recruiters talk, and his old company didn't exactly give him a glowing recommendation. Even companies that considered hiring him backed out once they found out why he was fired. Last I heard, he was jobless for months, barely scraping by. Then, it got worse. 4. Karma's final blow. One of my old coworkers recently sent me an update. Greg finally got a job. But not just any job, a low-level sales position at some small, dying company. This guy, who used to strut around like a king, was now cold-calling customers for a third-rate business. Even better? His new boss is someone he once mocked in a networking event. Apparently, Greg made fun of this guy's company years ago, saying it was a joke. And now? He's working for him. I laughed so hard when I heard that. 5. And me? I'm thriving. While Greg's life is in free fall, I'm doing better than ever. My new job pays more, and my boss actually respects me. I reconnected with old coworkers, and we all still joke about Greg's greatest hits. I never have to deal with his nonsense again. Honestly, I have zero regrets. He tried to ruin my career. Instead, he lost his job, his reputation, his marriage, and his future. So, Reddit, did karma do its job, or what?